Well, the streamer's here. Hello. And good time zone. And what is up, gamers? Oh, Biddle boy. Ha. Sorry, there was something underfoot. Hello. Welcome in, and I hope you are all doing spectacularly, fantastically well. I'm doing fine. All things considered. It's been nearly a week since I published my most recent YouTube video, and I am a not insignificant way into editing the next one, so that feels like, you know, getting things done, being productive, all that good stuff, which in turn feels really good. So, yippee skippy. Oh, yeah, so about that. People seem to be really into bagged milk discourse, so I drew this little guy. I hope you like them. Bagged milk guy is now a thing. I will paint him in at some point. Maybe later today if we have time. Who knows? But I thought I would introduce this because it's fun. Also, it is ding dang gosh darn heckin' freezing in this room. Oh my goodness gracious. It is apparently damp out if the condensation on the window is anything to go by. And yeah, I am so stinking cold that I think I might actually have to go. I was feeling okay, and I was like, oh man, am I going to be uncomfortably warm because I've got 2 big old cups of tea next to me that I just made. But I'm freezing. I think I might need to put on a jumper. So if you'll excuse me, chat, for just one little second, I'm gonna go stick on a jumper. I'm so cold right now. Oh my goodness gracious. Why is it so cold in here? It's supposed to be spring. Oh, what? Wait a minute, there's someone at the door. Hello? Hi, honey. It's okay, it's my moderator slash spouse. He's just come home. Hi, everybody. Hello, darling. Shut up. I'm on streamer brain. Also, how's it going? Yeah. Okay. Did you have a good day?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you're home then. Looking forward to soup? Hell yeah. Okay. Okay, hi. Hello, goodbye, says Moriax. Gonna be lurking. Have a lovely lurk, my friend, and thank you very much indeed for choosing me as your lurk location. But otherwise, hi. So yeah, this is Milk Jug Guy because of recent Milk Jug discourse and general milk container confusion, shenanigans, what have you. This, on the other hand, is potentially a prospective future PMG tuber. So what is it that you got in the post, my love? Oh, it's Warhammer. Nice. Please be careful. Okay. He's finding some place to stash his new box of Warhammer. Yep. Anyways. But yeah, we've got a few things to work on today. A few things that we started last time, like this PNG tuber, but also because I guess I was feeling really indecisive in terms of what I wanted to work on. I also at the same time started this piece here, which is a theoretical Copenhagen, I shall say. It's based on like a photograph of a street that I have actually been on in Copenhagen, but I'm not being tethered to reality for the entirety of the piece, and I think that's no bad thing. It's nice to get a little fantastical. It's good lord, it is so gray. It is so gray outside. I was like, is there just a ton of fog on the window? No, that's just what the sky looks like. Damn. Okay. But that is periods of winter and spring here in the United Kingdom. I keep having to remind myself that it is actually technically winter until like the 20th, 21st, somewhere around there. It's just, I think my brain is so wired to see like it is the day number 1 of the month, therefore that marks like the start and end of a period of time. Like the year starts on January 1st, you know what I mean? So I know that the seasons and where we place the changes of seasons are based on, you know, like the I don't know what the plural of equinox is. Is it equinoxes, equinocces? I don't know. But the equinox at either end of the year, and then, you know, in the other seasons, the solstices or solstices. Again, I don't know. Anyways, I think solstice sounds good, but it's probably incorrect. Anyways, the equinoxes and solstices are where we determine the end of one season and the start of another season. But in my brain, it's like, no. Autumn starts at the start of September because that's when students go back to school. And autumn starts when you go back to school as a student. Ergo, you know. Like, similarly, spring starts at the beginning of March. Even if there's still snow out, it's spring at the start of March. Because, you know, or I guess in Canada, it's spring at the start of April, and spring is just like 1 month. Because by the time you get it to May, it feels like summer. Because there were some days when we were there last time in May that it was hot as balls, wasn't it, my love?
Yeah, when we went to Toronto the first time, it was 30 plus degrees.
Oh yeah, it was like 30 plus degrees at the end of May in Toronto when we were there once. It made wandering around and looking at things a little more challenging, has to be said. Because we are not big hot weather people at all in this house. I resent if it goes above like 24 degrees C here in the United Kingdom. I'm not going to be functioning at my very best. So, you know, never mind. But with that being said, I guess I should probably let you know, this is a ways off now, but programming note, I will be away for a number of stream days in May because I am going to be going to see my family in Canada, and it just isn't feasible or practical for me to attempt to stream while I'm there. I'm going to be busy with my family doing family things. I hope you don't mind. I hope that's okay. And I hope people still want to hang out here, even if I'm not here for, like, probably 2 weeks of streams just based on the way that the days shake out. I was like, oh, I'll be back in time for the Friday stream of that week, and then I realized, no, it's a red-eye flight. I'm going to be getting home at, like, lunchtime that day, and then I'm going to collapse into ruin for the entire weekend. And then the following Monday is not only a bank holiday Monday, it's also my birthday. So I'm on the fence as to whether or not I'm going to stream that day. Heck. Hi, babe. What's up? You didn't buy milk? That's okay. We don't need milk for dinner, and we've got lots of other things to drink. Everything's fine. Anyways, Q2's hello, you wonderful bean. It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. Hello. I was just pre-warning the chat that I'm going to be away for a couple weeks in May because I'm going to see my family in Canada. My family lives very far away, so I can barely afford to go visit them for like a week and a half to 2 weeks every other year at this point. So please forgive me and continue enjoying my content in the meantime. I don't know. Anyways, shame on moderator/husband for not buying bagged milk, says Q2s. It's very hard to purchase bagged milk here. In the United Kingdom. There was a brief period, I swear there was a brief period where it was available in like Sainsbury's, and then they were like, wow, no one's buying this, let's stop, and then they just stopped. But with that being said, Q2s. Guess why I drew this? I'm so sorry. Anyways, I cannot wait for you to making the YouTube video. I mean, I will definitely see if I can film some, like, milk bag footage when I'm in Canada. I don't actually know if my family have a milk jug, so I don't know if it's going to be feasible for us to, like, buy it. Because it comes in, like, 4 1-ish liter bags, generally, like, as a package deal. And if they're not really going to be able to use it, I don't know. But I will be seeking out bagged milk if I can. And, yeah, we'll talk about bagged milk. Anyways, so that's on the, that's on the queue of videos to be made alongside a couple other things. The shirt video that I'm currently working on. I also have other plans for a video, at least one video that involves Toronto and public transit. I am not becoming a public transit channel because I do not have the resource to visit enough public transits to become a public transit channel. Also, I have too many other things to talk about. But there are a couple aspects of public transit, and specifically Toronto, that I wanted to video about. So I'm sorry, you'll have to see those at some point. I'm going to be gathering more B-roll on this trip, so... Anyways. When I'm going to Canada, it's going to be, like, right in sort of the middle of May. So I think we're flying out on the 11th, and then we're coming back on, like, the 20-something. So I'll be there for, like, between a week and a half and 2 weeks. So I apologize in advance for my absence. But, assuming I'm up to streaming that day, I'll be back just in time for my literal 42nd birthday. So, I might stream for that. I don't know yet. Anyways. Q2 says, Sammy, don't tell your moderator / spouse, but I love you. He's so cute. Aw. Thank you. Thank you. He's blushing. It's hard to tell because he's currently in black and white, but he is. Anyways. Hi, Sunshine. Who's what now? Did you see? It's a little bagged milk jug. What's his name? That's a good... What's that, love? What is that? I don't think I can make that his name, sweetheart. Anyways. By the way, if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about with regard to Canadian milk, I've got a YouTube video that's gone up recently. I'd really love if I hit like 3 figures of views on that in its first week of being up. That would be incredibly special to me. So if anyone hasn't seen it and is like, gee, this is something that might interest me, you can do that over at youtube.com/Sammy Kelch. That's my channel. I feel like I'm not selling it super well, but the benefit of my videos compared to my live streams is that everything that I say, for the most part, is rehearsed and edited. So... Anyways, my husband suggests... Okay, so this requires a little bit of backstory. So, in Canada, and I did go over this in my video, we have different gradations of milk. Like here in the UK, we have skimmed milk, semi-skimmed milk, and then whole milk, right? Those are the 3 sort of main categories of milk. So obviously, skimmed milk has no fat left in it. Whole milk is just what, the amount of milk fat that comes directly out of the cow. And then semi-skimmed milk has a little bit of fat, but less than whole milk, but no fat like skimmed milk. Anyways, so in Canada they have skim milk, not skimmed, just skim. No, I don't know why either. 2% milk, which is, you can tell by the name, just has 2% milk fat. And then they have homogenized milk, which is whole milk, but they specify that it's been homogenized, so you're not expecting, like they used to have in the olden days, you'd get like a bottle of milk from the dairy, and it would have like the cream sitting on top of it, and you'd have to, sort of like shake it up if you wanted uninterrupted milk, because the cream likes to float to the top. So normally whole milk in supermarkets goes through a process of homogenization, but on a lot of milk packaging in Canada, at least historically, you don't see it as often these days for reasons I can't begin to imagine, they would shorten it to homo milk. And a lot of people still call it homo milk. And you can see why this does me a giggle. As a little gay, So, yeah, I I think this would be auto-modded to oblivion if I named my little milk jug Homo. I think it would. Anyways, hi Katie, welcome in. You're here just in time for milk lore. But yeah, this is our little guy. Was that moderator / spouse's suggestion? Yeah, he wanted me to name the little milk jug Homo, and I'm like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that without getting just like demonetized and whatever for like hate speech, but it's not. It's not. It is said with the utmost love, but they don't know that. They don't know that I'm LGBTQIA+. The dumbest automod things. I have had to allow some things that got auto-modded that I never would have imagined should be auto-modded. Like things to do with like a name or something that's like a long word, but there's like a sequence of letters in the middle of the word that technically spells out something rude. But like no one would ever use this big long word because there's, you know, like some bad language in the middle of it. It's just the name of something, which is just so unfortunate. I also you know, in my life I encounter, despite living in the England, I you know, have a very cosmopolitan set of acquaintance, which means that I encounter a lot of people who have names whose origins are not English, and every once in a while someone will have a name whose origin is not English, but also has like what is a rude English word inside it. Again, just because of like spellings and what have you, and I hate to think that they would get auto-modded for, like, their name. You know, that's so mean. Anyways, I like moderator / spouse says Q2's. He's funny. You should marry him. You know what? I would 100% marry him again if I was allowed to marry the same person twice. I would absolutely do that. We've been married for just over 11 years. And it's been pretty stinking great, I gotta say. 5,000 out of 10 do recommend. I mean, I don't recommend anybody else marry him because I'm not sharing. And also I don't think he would want to. But yeah. He says, maybe. Okay, well, I can't speak for him, and obviously we don't own each other, so he's allowed to do whatever he wants. Boo! Rude of you. Oh, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad. Sweetheart, we don't own each other, and you can marry whoever you want. It's okay. He says, cool. Well, now I feel a little bit sad. But, you know. Sorry? Yeah? Okay, no, it's fine. He wants to marry me, it turns out. Yippee! Yay! I'm so happy. Anyways. Should I do a little painting, or is it too soon? Is it too soon to do a little painting? I think I want to work on this bad boy, because I really want to get it done, because it's my fresh, sassy little, my fresh and sassy little, PNG tuber for the new season, because I can't just have one. I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like this creature here needs like a rebrand necessarily. I think they're fine. Also, speaking of, not in any way, shape, or form, but happy International Women's Day, Boxing Day. I note that also, geez, I should have, swear words, I should have put this on my Discord. North Americans may not be aware of the fact that the times didn't change in the United Kingdom. Because I'm given to understand that most places in North America, the clocks changed this past weekend, but they don't change here until the end of the month. So, oh no! Heck! In fact, yeah, I think it's literally like the 29th or something that the clocks change here, so it's quite a while. So I'm gonna pop onto Discord and just be like, hey, just FYI. The clocks haven't changed in the UK, but they have in parts of North America. Speaking of, I learned that British Columbia, which is a province in Canada, which is the country that I come from, has resolved to do away with daylight savings time gubbins. And Katie says, I follow another Brit and he noted the difference in time change. Yeah, I completely forgot to do it. It just, I was literally thinking about it just before we started because I know someone who lives out on the West Coast and is imminently moving to British Columbia and is looking forward to moving to British Columbia because they won't have to change their clocks ever again. And I know he's, like, pumped about that because he hates it. I understand, obviously, there's, like, a utility of it, to it. The idea being that, so that, like, farmers and school children have a little bit more sunlight time in the mornings, which is, you know, like, useful and good, but also it does just mess with your circadian rhythms quite a bit, I think. I know for me, especially the moving forward in the springtime. That's the word I'm looking for. In the springtime, the forward moving, that will mess me up. That will, like, jet lag me for a week. Do you do career advice? Asks Q2s. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how useful it would be. What, me giving career advice, or do you want to give me career advice? Because that depends. Anyways, ostensibly there's a utility to it, says Katie, but also we don't function solely on candles and sunlight for lighting anymore. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's not actively changing the length of your daytimes and night times. Me giving advice. I mean, I certainly can give advice. I don't know how good or useful it would be, in as much as, I mean, look at me, but always happy to do so. But yeah, it's like there's still going to be the same number of hours of daylight in a day no matter what the clocks say. The clocks are purely like an arbitrary human invention. It was, you know, a human person's idea to split the day up into 24 hours, each hour into 60 minutes, and each minute into 60 seconds, etc., all the way down. The sun and the moon and the rotation of the earth care not one whit about that. You know, the day-night cycle is going to be what it's going to be. What we assign numerically to the time that the sun has happened to go up or go down, wherever you happen to be, and that length of cycle is going to vary depending on how close you are to a pole or an equator. You know. Yeah, what was my point? I don't know. My point is, in the winter time, oh, biddle boy, no matter what the clocks are doing, I'm going to have to be leaving the house when it's nighttime, and I'm going to be getting home when it's nighttime, and I'm going to feel like I didn't have a day, because when the sun goes down, my brain goes, all right, well, it's the end of the day, you're going to have to start cooking dinner soon. Even if it's 4 p.m., my brain is like, you're going to have to start cooking dinner soon, and that's stupid, because I don't cook dinner for another 3 hours. I can initiate another task, but I find it really hard to do it because, well, the sun's still up. Conversely, when it's, you know, when it's summertime and the sun doesn't go down until like 10 p.m., I'll be like, it's the middle of the afternoon at 4 p.m. I can do all of the things. I don't have to worry about making dinner yet. And then suddenly it's dinner time and I'm like, when the hell did that happen? It's still daylight out. It's the middle of the afternoon. What's going on? Maybe this is a me problem. I think this might be a me problem. Anyways, Q2s has a question/comment. I'm going to read it. They say, I'm contemplating potentially moving to another country based on a potential job offer. The pay increase would be rather substantial, double. Oh, hell yeah. Though I'm not sure about wanting to move to Switzerland and the company itself. It's not a bad company, it's just not something where I would scream, yes, I would love to work there. I figured you might be a good person to ask considering you moved from Canada to the UK, although I don't know the circumstances, but you get the point. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I think... Now, I haven't been to Switzerland, but it seems nice from what I know based on experience of mostly seeing YouTube videos about it and also having known someone who lived there. One of the things to bear in mind, I don't know what the cost of living / expense is relative to salaries where you are currently. Please don't dox yourself. It's fine. But what I would say is that I'm given to understand that it's not a cheap place to live, so that might impact how far your increased salary is likely to go. That being said, there's nothing that, especially if it's based on a job offer, I would assume that at least some amount of the work visa type paperwork that, if any, that would go into moving to another country. And again, I don't know what kind of agreements there might be based on where you live currently versus moving to another country and having to get all that infrastructural stuff set up. It might be nothing. It might be a ton of forms. I know not. But if that stuff is largely, if it's being handled in large part by the workplace, that feels like less pressure, especially in terms of if there's any fees that you have to pay for permits or anything like that. And you're having to pay that out of pocket and you are not entirely convinced. I would be hesitant. On the other hand, if you don't have to worry about all that stuff, you can always consider the fact that if you move there, start that job, do it for 6 months or something like that, and you're not really feeling it, you can always leave. You can always leave. And I guess if your salary is higher and it is going a little bit further than your current salary, you can always try and save a bit of a cushion if, say, you decide after 3 to 6 months that this isn't for me, start looking for something else, closer to home or somewhere else or anything like that. You're not tethered to that job forever if you decide that you don't want to do it, I guess is my point. I say this as someone who has been very terrible about not leaving super bad jobs that they weren't really jazzed about for very long periods of time. So, you practice what I preach and I'll keep working on it. But that being said, I've also started jobs on a very okay, I'm going to be doing this for a long time basis and then quit after 3 weeks because it turns out it wasn't what I wanted at all. You can just do that for whatever that's worth. The paperwork probably isn't too bad considering Germany / EU have laws in place in Switzerland. Awesome sauce. Love to hear it. That rocks. But yeah, I would say bear in mind that if it's bad and you're having a not good time and you're not jazzed, you can leave. But if you're also just really not sure you want to do it, if it feels like something you're not going to enjoy, you don't have to. But also, if you think that it might be fun, don't necessarily talk yourself out of it. This is not helpful advice. I'm basically saying do it or don't. Oh no! Moriak says, as someone who's under similar circumstances, planning a potential big move recently, I would recommend looking into civic life. Yeah, that's also very, very true. And especially hobbies where you'd be moving to. You're going to spend the majority of your time not working, so it's important that you're in a place where you can do the things you enjoy and feel comfortable. Oh yes, 100%. Absolutely agree. Because it's I've, not mega been in a position of ooh, this job pays oodles of money, but it's in a location that's not ideal for me. But I've had situations where I'm this is a really good opportunity, but oh, where is it? Yeah. Cause you might have okay, I have I have a comfortable income now. And I have no means of disposing it because there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. I have a really stupid deal breaker about places I'm willing to move. And my stupid deal breaker is, will I be able to access like a high quality cup of coffee locally that I didn't have to make at home? Can I go someplace that's comfortable for me personally, get an espresso based beverage, buy a bag of coffee beans that I consider to be of good quality, and like hang there for a while and feel comfortable and have a nice time? If the answer is no, I'm like, even though I don't even go out for coffees that often, I just want the option. I want to be able to do it. Sometimes I want a handcrafted espresso beverage that I didn't make, you know? That's very important to me. But yeah. The salary is basically just stupid money considering it's double, and the income taxes in Switzerland are lower, so even with the higher cost of living, it's basically more than... Jeez, Murphy. Jeez. I wish I was having this dilemma right now. I mean, I don't. I feel like one of my other deal breakers would be like, how few days a week can I do this job? Like, if the salary's double but I'm only working 2 days a week, I'm cool with that. I would go for that in a heartbeat. Hell yeah. I'm making the same amount of money, but I'm working less. God, I wish that were me. Anyways, the location is but I honestly don't know of that place. Yeah, that's true. I think that's another reason why it might be worth looking into what's going on locally. Ours are 42 weeks, so more. Okay, so that's a 5 days, like, generously. So yeah,
Attention.
It feels like you've got
Twitch user Sammy Kelch.
Hello,
Shoppers.
Maya. Hello, and welcome on in. Hello, Raiders. Lovely to see y'all. Welcome in. What'd you get up to today? How was your stream? Etc., etc. Hello and welcome. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Welcome in. Let me get a shout out for Maya in the chat. If I can, type. That'd be super great. What were you up to today? I hope you had a wonderful stream. It's lovely to see you and welcome on in. Let me say hello to everyone who has come in on the raid. Hello, Crouton, welcome in. Hello, Rosov, hello, welcome. I hope you are well. Hello, Maya, of course. Hello, Billy. Hello, friends. Hello, Queequee and Richie, welcome in. Red Bean, hello, friends. And Triple Muse, hello, welcome in. How's it going, friends? And Phoebe, hello, how are you? It's lovely to see you all and welcome in. Hello and happy Monday. I hope you're all having wonderful Mondays. I hope you had good weekends as well. It's wonderful to see you. For anyone who's new here, hi. I'm working on another new PNG tuber because I cannot be stopped. So this is literally what I look like when I'm streaming. But it's not done yet. My name's Twitch user Sammy Kelch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and Thursdays, and I drop my paintbrush a lot. I do cozy game streams on Friday mornings, and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra crispy. I don't know where my paintbrush is gone, but that's okay. Yeah, today we are working on... Well, first of all, we're going to work on finding my paintbrush. Oh, there it is. Okay, one moment, please. We're working on a PNG tuber, and if I can get it done, I also have a little cityscape here. These little guys are off on a little adventure in Copenhagen. They've just gotten coffees here, and now they're toddling off to do some other adventures. It's a mild day, but this little guy has like 0 cold tolerance, so he's in like 4 wool sweaters all at once. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. And in addition, because there has been discourse of a sort related to this, here's my new character. He is a bag of milk in a jug, which is a thing that you can get in certain parts of Canada. And apparently some people from other places think is weird. But yeah. Anyways. So yeah, that's what we're up to today. Oh, cute, Red Bean. Thank you. But Maya, how was your stream? What were you up to today? I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful stream. I hope you had a good time, whatever you got up to. And as always, we are an art tax haven here. If there is anything that you would like to share, you are very welcome to whisper it to me, and I would be very happy to share it with the class. But if you just want to chill and like run or just chillax, it's all good. No worries. Absolutely. It's cool regardless. Anyways, tell him about his name. Oh yeah, so my husband suggested that we name this little guy Homo. And the reason for this is that whole milk in Canada is known as homogenized milk because it's, you know, the milk and the cream that's been integrated with each other, so there isn't like cream floating on top of the milk, which there used to be in olden days. But on packaging, also in the olden days, not so much these days, but you do see it every now and then. It's called homo milk, and I was like, you know, that's super cute, and like, I think it's super cute as a queer person, but I also know that's like massive demonetization name. Because people might think that I'm being mean, and I'm not, because that's horrible. And, again, I am a member of the queer community. I would not. But, with... I'm trying to come up with a name that people aren't going to think is mean. And I haven't come up with them yet. So, yeah, this is just a milk jug. And I love him very much. And, I drew him in about 3 minutes. Before stream started, and I'm also drinking 2 cups of tea. Your moderator / spouse is hilarious, not gonna lie, says Q2's. Thank you. Thank you. I will tell him that you said so. In case anyone's curious what my artwork looks like when it's done, let me find you a painting that is not too silly. Here's a representative artwork of my own. No, that's a void. That is a void. Let's correct that. Okay, this is a representative artwork of what my art looks like when it's done sometimes. This is Craig. He's a toad wizard. He's a very studious little guy. And he is, if I do say so myself, doing an excellent job of trying his best. So yeah, I'm a watercolor artist working primarily in watercolors and other similar wet traditional media. And today I am, because I have zero chill, painting myself another PNG tuber. I have two PNG tubers already. No, I've got 3. Here's another one. But I feel like they're a little too wintry now that the weather is starting to hot up in this hemisphere. And we're coming into springtime. And I've also got this little gremlin. But she typically only makes appearances on game streams. So yes. That's what that's all about. Anyways, let's go back to my pirate Sona for the time being, and I shall continue to. Is my lighting gone weird? There we go. Okay. I wish Milkbag was a PNG tuber. Do you know how easy it would be for me to turn this into a PNG tuber, Q2s? Because it would be very easy for me to turn this into a PNG tuber. Don't tempt me. Or do tempt me. I might just do it anyways. Who knows? Aoife, hello, welcome in. It's lovely to see you. Welcome, and hello. And yes, for the uninitiated, in some parts of Canada, milk comes in usually clear, heavy-duty plastic bags that are then slotted into an appropriately sized jug, and the milk is stored thusly. They usually don't have feet, but, you know, anything's possible. So, jot that down. The Hollow Knight one is so funny looking. I love it, says Red Bean. Thank you! She is our representative when I stream Silk Song on Friday mornings. Anywho, I hope everyone's well. I hope you had a good weekend. It's lovely to see you. And Q2s, I'm sorry I don't think we reached like a really decisive conclusion as to what you should do about your move, but I hope we've given you some food for thought to go away with, and I'm sure whatever you decide will be the right choice. Anywho, this is the pastel shade set from Derwent that I'm currently working with. It's kind of a weird watercolor set in as much as they describe it as gouache-like, and the paints themselves feel very different to like traditional watercolors to me. If I just like touch the actual paint surface, it feels almost like chalky pastel-y. It's not, but it's very matte finish. Whereas if you look at this is another watercolor that I have, and it's so shiny by comparison. It's like shiny and a little bit tacky on the surface. I don't know if it's just like whatever they're using as a binder in here, or there's just less binder, or if it's a different binder, because I think this one, these are mostly Schminke, I believe, if memory serves. And I'm pretty sure that they just use like gum arabic, which is a pretty standard binder for watercolors. I have no idea what the binder is in these. They are a little bit weird. And I have beef with the color names. This is one of these sets that comes with like a printed, one of these printed like swatch sheets for you, so you can see what all the colors are. And I hate using these because I think they're never quite as accurate as like just actually swatching it out yourself. You're going to get a much more correct feel for the, I mean, if you like look at the difference between this printed peach and the actual shade of peach, it's so much more vibrant. If you went in thinking that it was going to be like this quite sort of dull beige color and it's like super bright orange, that's, oh no. So I don't know. I tend to ignore these. I've held on to it just because it has all the color names on it, which I think is potentially useful. That being said, so many of these color names are also, frankly, pardon my French, but they're also kind of bullshit. Like cornflower blue, 100% this is cornflower blue. Turquoise, yeah, I'm on side with this being turquoise. It, at least on my monitor, reads is a little bit more straight ahead blue, but it's definitely on the turquoise side. This is like a minty green, yep, 100%. Artichoke, yeah, I can see that. It's like a soft sort of brownish green color. I love it. I love this color, this artichoke color, actually. I think it's gorgeous. It's very sort of sage green kind of vibe. Also, you can use it to make that very point and educate us. I do love getting a little educational in here. I'm not qualified to get educational, but how about I do it anyways? This is another one that is nonsense. They call it storm gray, and I just want to reassure you that in person it's even more brown than it looks on camera. Like this is just brown. It's like a soft grayish brown, but it's brown. I would call that storm brown. And again, look at the difference here between storm gray and this color. 'Cause that's gray. This is brown. It's a different shade. Silver blue, on the other hand, even on here, it just looks gray, and on here, it's gray. So, it's always worth. I have no complaints about lemon, peach, coral, pink. Even though I would say that's more on the side of coral, like orange coral, personally. But you know, coral is one of those colors that's kind of on the fence. So like, I can allow it, I guess, but I feel like, I don't know, this feels, no. Anyways, pink flamingo and orchid pink. Like, these two are definitively pinks. This one I feel like is on the orange side, but like, okay, I guess, right? But, anywho, I absolutely 100% forget what my point was. I'm going to scoot these little guys out of the way, and I'm going to get a little bit more shading done on my little ping tuber. I think if I may, I'm certainly going to try. Okay, I want there to be this poor paintbrush, by the way, is dying. And I really, maybe it's a storm scene through a dirty Windows' armory. Honestly, I love that perspective. That's hilarious. Also, hello, I hope you're well. It's lovely to see you and welcome in. Hello, how's it going? Okay. Just getting some subtle shading in places where I feel like it ought to exist. Thus, okay, that's my little foot. I don't have my little house shoes on here because my feet are dangling. As you can see, they can't quite reach the floor because I'm short. So it goes. Oh well. I am actually going to use my storm gray for any bits that need a little shade down here, just under my shirt collar there, and probably just kind of behind my cardigan sleeve, I guess. But yeah, the reason I wanted to do this was that I felt like my other, not this one I feel like is kind of seasonless. This one is universal. But my other PNG tuber that I've been using for a while was quite seasonal. Like, it feels like a winter friend. And in fact, actually, hold. wait for it. Let me see if I can... How's that? There we go! Yay! The other PNG tuber had a red nose that would turn up every once in a while, and I missed it, so it's clown hours again. I've just had to resize it for this one. Anyways, yeah, I missed clown hours, so I'll try and see if I can get a clown nose on this. This should be fairly easy. My nose is just kind of a little nub here, which is not necessarily 100% accurate to real life, but good enough. Anyways, but yeah, how's everybody been? How have your weekends been? What you been up to? I mentioned it up top of stream, but I'll mention again before I forget to do it, and I will mention it closer to the time as well. I'm gonna be away for a couple weeks in May, to spend some time with my family, which I haven't done in a couple of years. So I apologize for the lack of content during that period. I'll be posting stuff on other socials, I'm sure, but I won't be able to stream because I will be subject to my parents' internet and also in a completely different time zone. So sorry. Anyways, also I don't want to have to explain to my parents what streaming is. Yay! Nah, my parents are chill, but they don't have to hang out in my live streams. I occasionally say a swear, and I don't want them to hear me say a swear. Because I'm a shy plum about that. Today's tea, this is Starry Night tea. I forget what's in it, but it has a nice, slightly sort of botanical flavor, I would say. It's very pleasant. I made a new PNG model on the weekend to Sifa. Ooh, tell me more. Also swearing. I'm so sorry. I try not to do it super often, but you know, sometimes the situation honestly demands it. Sometimes the situation honestly demands it, and I'm not interested in mincing my words when the situation demands it. So, there you go. I'm actually gonna... Has that done anything good? I don't know. But I'm gonna just get a little bit of shadows here and there under the sleeve of this garment. La la la. Try not to go too crazy with the shading, because otherwise I'll lose my dang mind. But I do think that it just adds a little added, I don't know what, to the piece, you know? A little je ne sais quoi. I like that. Okay. Now I need some cornflower blue for where my trousers need to be shaded. Oh yeah, did I mention? I updated my YouTube channel last week. I would very much love for it to hit the next, like, make you feel good about yourself milestone type number of views and stuff before it's a week old, because I posted it last Tuesday. And I am very deep in the editing mines of my next video currently, so hopefully that will be up not too super long from now, but I can't say for sure when. If I aim for approximately a video per month, I feel like that's the most realistic output amount that I can manage without completely driving myself batty and or having to like quit all of my other jobs, which unfortunately I can't because the channel is not monetized and makes me zero money. Then unfortunately I need money to live. So many Sammy videos says QTs will be blessed. I really hope that's true. I'm honestly so nervous that I'm not going to be able to deliver on the promise. And I'm also aware that like irregular sporadic uploads makes it really hard to like find an audience as a streamer. And I'm also aware of the fact that it's really hard to correct this if you like doing things that are a little bit ambitious, but you also have other jobs that you need to do in your life. Anyways. Ooh. Eva says, I read through a tutorial of the program. So this is Aoife. So this Aoife 3.0 is so much more dynamic than her predecessors. Woo! Very exciting. Very exciting. I look forward to seeing her. Q2 says, sounds like you need a job offer, doubling your monies. I mean, you know, I wouldn't say no to it, but on the other hand, that's going to depend super hard on whether or not it's actually a job that I want to do. If it was like, if it was a substantive advance for a book, that was enough for me to say, like, at the very least take a sabbatical from my day job, I'd super be into that. But unfortunately, I don't know how to. I used to have friends in, like, and in fact, I have friends who publish books. I have friends who are published authors. I do not know how to become a published author again. I've, like, lost that knowledge, and I feel like since the last time my name appeared in a book has been so long that, I don't know what the landscape is for doing that stuff now, and I am so scared. Anyways, it's time for a break. Wait, Q2 says hold. You have cool friends. Hey! You're cool. You're in a book. I'm in a few books. I should probably have a list of the books that I'm in. Annoyingly, most of them are out of print, except the ones you can buy from my shop. But I need to put on the where the hell is the BRB screen? Where did it go? There it is. We're about to go to a break, so I'll be right back. Have a drink, have a stretch, do all that jazz, and I'll see you very shortly. Won't miss anything because we're on the BRB screen. Enjoy the song, and I'm sorry if you have to see ads. BRB. Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. It's lovely to see you again. Hello. So yeah, there was a question about the fact that I have been published in some books. This is true. And have I been, like, it's been so long.
Oh no.
Red Bean, thank you very much for the TTS, Nicole. Aw, she's sitting on the desk. Well, I can't move the painting now because I don't want to disrupt her. Thank you very much indeed for the TTS, Nicole. She is our little wombat friend who reads out our messages, and I love her very much. And yes, she's wearing dungarees. She's a sophisticated lady. Anyways, but yeah, no, I was very much not on the ball with, like, remembering the names of. I mean, I have all of the books except one that I binned. I literally binned my copy of it for complicated reasons involving the editor, who turned out to be a very not good person for reasons I will not get into here because it's quite heavy. But with that being said, I binned the book before, and this is just the joys of being a writer who is subject to the whims of editors apart from yourself. And part of the, I feel like I can be a little bit of a sort of control when it comes to sort of my writing and how it is unleashed uponst the worldeth. Also, does this little sponge that they give you as part of this little paint travel set, which I never really know what to... I know there is a purpose to the sponge, and I never know what to do with it, which is why it's, like, pristine. But does it not look like just the prototypical chip? Does it not just look like the prototypical chip? Anyways, but yeah, I have all of the books that I've been published in somewhere, and the PDFs of... I think there was one of them that only got an ebook edition, so I think I just have the PDF of that one. But with that being said, there's one that I binned that is out of print that I do not own a copy of, and the reason that I don't own a copy of it is that I had beef with the editor, but then, like, they asked me to contribute, like, a number of pieces to this, like, anthology, and I was like, okay, that's cool, and I did the thing, and then this is, like, the worst experience as a writer. And I know that many writers have had this experience, but when you go to, like, you open the thing to the page where your writing is on it, and you're like, I do not recognize a single word of this. This was so heavy-handedly rewritten by the editor that it no longer bears any resemblance to anything that I've written, and in fact is not my writing anymore. So I had that experience once, and it sucked. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people read that, or I don't know if a lot of people read that one anyway. And again, it's very out of print, so like whatever. But that sucked. That sucked, and I really hate when they do that. When something is like, I wrote for mostly this one online like publication that was, one of those websites that does like reviews and interviews and that kind of thing of like TV and film. And I wrote for them for quite a bit. I would do like episode reviews as well as like go to premieres and events and new season launches and press events and do interviews and that kind of thing. But every once in a while I would notice that like, a sentence had been slightly reworded, usually because there was like something specific that they wanted to incorporate that like the editor hadn't mentioned to me. And that was fine because I could still recognize my own journalistic voice in there. There's a difference between like, we have to word things a certain way for like, whatever reason versus like, I am literally just going to wholesale change it to like the way I would have written it, which I think is really, that's just bad practice as an editor to do that. It's just like at that point, just write your own. Oh, thank you for the HUD Q2s. I appreciate that. Sorry to go on a bit of a like meh about that, but it just reminded me of it, and it was frankly not a fun experience. But that was one experience out of many. And a lot of them were weird for varying reasons. Oh, that is the worst thing that happened to me as a published writer, was someone just fully like rewriting and completely changing my work to something that was unrecognizable and that I personally did not think was as good. Like get in the bin, you suck. The second worst thing though was the time they misspelled my name on like the table of contents under my story. And when I got the like pre-publication proof copy, which we were, sent so that we could read through it and give any notes on like, oh, there's a typo here, or could you change this please, or whatever. I said, hey, just FYI, my name is spelled like this, not that. Could you change it, please? And then they went and bloody didn't change it. Like, it wasn't even just that they hadn't checked. They literally sent me a proof of it that had a misspelling of my name. I said, hey, that's not how my name is spelled. And then they just didn't change it. I'm like, what? Which means, in turn, there is an entry on Goodreads just for this person who doesn't exist under a name that is similar but misspelled of my own for this one story. And I don't know how to get that changed. So what's your official name? I don't want to tell you what it is because I'm afraid that people will start calling me it, and I would hate that for me because I have a slightly weird name, I know that, and people regularly misspell it. I would rather people didn't do it on purpose because they think it's funny to razz me. And I know it's fun to razz me because I frazzle easily, so I would rather not invite that, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. Unless not telling you makes it worse. I don't know. Anyways, made me a little grumpy, though. Anyways, hello, Tals, welcome in, and a fair Monday to you too, my friend. I do hope that you are well. Hello. But yeah, so that's my fun story. Is that they misspelled my name, I asked them to change it, and then they didn't change it. So, wow. Great job. That was some illustrious company in that that was an anthology of short stories. Some illustrious company in that anthology of short stories as well. Some very well-known writers here in the UK were also in the same book, which felt really nice because I was like, wow, I'm in illustrious company. Cool. Anyways, But yeah, it's been so long since I've done any publishing of my writing that I don't know how to do it now. I don't know how to do it now. I don't know how to find an agent. I probably wouldn't be able to find an agent. Anything that I am writing, and I am writing, is probably not particularly, what shall I say, marketable, because I don't know if any of the demographics that my work would likely appeal to from a relatability standpoint are large enough. And in addition, there is always this feeling that, like, oh, well, if this is about, like, a somewhat niche group of people, then, like, people who don't belong to that niche aren't going to want to read it, which is nonsense and stupid, and we should not be marketing books in that way. Like, we should never be marketing books in that way. But then I also had a crisis about my writing earlier today, because I was thinking about, like, you know how as, like, okay, as, like, a literature student or a scholar of literature, you often think about, like, themes and meanings and symbolism and what have you in literature. I do not think about themes and symbolism and meanings when I'm writing, which makes me worry that what I am writing is actually just, like, substanceless pablum, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, is my writing just, like, you know, is my writing not good enough to belong in the canon of literature? Just because when I sit down to write, I'm not, okay, these are the grand themes I wish to explore. I sit down and I think things like, okay, but what if there was a character whose name was Dr. Adam W. Hamburger? OC, do not steal. You know, like that's how I get started writing a story. It's just that I want to write a story about a guy whose name is Adam Hamburger. And yeah, there's a novel in the works because of that. So there you go. Anyways, Tal says, I would have to double check, but I think my name is misspelled on my undergraduate diploma. No! Tals, I'm so sorry. That's extremely mean of them. I mean, congratulations on getting your degree. That rocks, but oh no. Oh no. Lord of the Rings, 1 out of 5 stars. I am not a hobbit, could not relate. There you go. Q2 says, considering you have a 4.18 star rating, I think your writing must be solid. Q2 also says about Tal's misspelled degree, so technically you don't have a degree. No! Oh no! Red Bean says, what if it's something like Sammy Kelp? An understandable not to give your real name out. Oh, see, I like that though. I wish my surname was Kelp. That would be fun. That's my mermaid name. If I was ever a mermaid, I would change my name to Sammy Kelp. Could you imagine? Mermaids probably hate that. Ugh. Speaking of mermaids, Copenhagen. I'm getting no painting done. I'm so sorry, chat. Anyways, okay, moving on. The reason I say speaking of mermaids, Copenhagen, there is a very famous statue of the Little Mermaid, aka like the story / Disney film / Disney live action remake / have they made a musical, like a stage musical version of the Little Mermaid? I don't know how they do that. Anyways, whoever has that other spelling says Q2's got a free one. Nice of you for getting it for them. Oh no. Hope they're putting it to good use, says Tells. Oh jeez. Oh, what a nightmare. Anyways. What was I saying? Oh, yes. Okay. I'm going to pick up some of this neutral tint because I'm going to put some shading on the gray chair behind my little body. But, what was I saying? Oh no, it's gone. Oh yeah, the Little Mermaid. So the Little Mermaid is kind of a big deal in the old, Copenhagen. Because the original Little Mermaid story was written by Hans Christian Andersen, who is a Danish fellow. So there's this famous statue of the Little Mermaid out sort of on the shores The park, there's a park out some distance from the city center, and there's a statue of the Little Mermaid that you can go visit. We did not do that because it was super raining that day. The day that we had planned to go see it, it was raining, so we didn't do it. But I found out that there was another mermaid statue that's even cooler than that one, and we did visit that one, and I'm so happy we did, because it's right next to a big library, and we went to the cafe in the big library, and we had drinks and treats, and it was really nice. And then I got to see this genuinely super rad mermaid statue, which was very small, but super rad. Also by a... Oh, I should look up the mermaid artist's name, because it's gonna bother me if I don't. Anyways, hello Nita, welcome man, welcome. It's lovely to see you. Hello. Mermaid statue Copenhagen, but not that mermaid statue, but the other one. Where the heck is it? There's also you know, like the famous extremely the very famous, extremely, like, Instagrammable, like, canal street in Copenhagen. What's the name of it? Nyhavn, I think. My pronunciation is garbage, I'm sorry. Oh yes, Anne-Marie Carl Nielsen did a mermaid statue, which I think is heckin' cool. It's also a little easier to get to than the one that everybody knows about. And you're super cool for knowing it because it's the less popular mermaid statue. But I'm pretty sure that she made it at some point after, like, her husband, like, cheated on her or something, and so she made some vent art, which I just think is extremely cool of her. Anyways, but anyways, I'm gonna find you a picture of it on my phone because I know I took one. I took lots, actually. I took a ton of photos of it because I thought it was heckin' neat. There's my brunch. It was after brunch. Yeah, here she is. I think this mermaid statue is heckin' rad. I think she's so cool. She's a little more stylized, but she also has this expression that's just like... That is just so expressive. Like, I don't, like, what is this expression? I feel like it's like, how shall I say? It's like she's just come out of the water and learned that she can, like, breathe air with her lungs on land for the first time. Like, she looks like a fish that has just emerged from the sea. And I just think she's so cool. I just think she's really cool. So I was glad I got to see her. Here's the last one, but here, actually, I took a selfie with her. Anyways, thank you for the hydrate, Q2s. Oh, how scared, says Red Bean. Yeah, she doesn't seem serene about it. She seems like she's freaking out, you know, startled. Yeah, exactly. There's like a shock to her expression that I think is really... It's, as you can see by the selfie, kind of like scared and shocked. Yeah. Like she's very Lil, and she's just on a little pedestal outside this big library. I think the library is attached to the university there. But yeah, she's just hanging out on a pedestal next to the canal, next to this big library. And she's quite small. It's like a walk past and you'll miss her if you're not looking for her. But I'm so glad that I went looking for her because I think she's such a cool piece of art. Girl just woke up from a nightmare, literally sat up in bed, says Katie. Yeah! It's like, oh my god, I had the craziest nightmare. I just dreamed I was a mermaid. And then she looks down, oh shit, you know? Like, what if? Oh my goodness. Anyways. But yeah, I love that piece. I think that piece is so cool. There's gonna be some shading under my butt. That's where my butt is. And also my back. Because my back is leaning against the cushion. Okie dokie. I think that's probably all I need to do for that. I don't want to go too crazy with it, because otherwise I'll be here all day futzing, and sometimes Sometimes one of the most important things to know as an artist is knowing when it's time to stop futzing. You know? When the futzing is over. Anyways. I feel like Anne-Marie Carl Nielsen knew when to stop futzing and did a perfect job. I love that piece. I think it's so cool. I'm really glad I got to see it. Speaking of, what's the coolest... Okay, this is a question for the chat. What's the coolest piece of, like, public art you've ever seen? Or what is a cool piece of public art that you have not been to see, but you'd really, really like to? I feel like the mermaid piece is up there for me in terms of something that I specifically went out of my way to, like, visit. And I'm really glad that I did that. I also really want to visit... This is so stupid. So my family are Hungarian, but I'm not really in touch with anyone from my side of my family who actually live in Hungary anymore. My grandmother emigrated in the 50s because political stuff. My mother was born in Hungary, but she moved here when she was like 10. Yada, yada, yada. Turnip, thank you very much for the lurk. But one of these days, I would love to go to Budapest because, you know, it's where my people come from. But additionally, there is this statue. The story behind it is so funny to me. There is a statue in Budapest of the TV detective Columbo. Played by the actor Peter Falk. Now, his surname is a Hungarian surname, but as far as I'm aware, he was born in, like, some part of America, and his parents were born in some part of America, and I don't think he particularly identified as, like, a Hungarian man, in any, like, meaningful way. But there is a street in Budapest named after a famous, like, 19th century historical figure who has the same surname as the actor Peter Falk who played Columbo. And so they put up a statue of Columbo, the TV detective. And I just think that's so sweet, but also I just have a lot of affection for the TV detective Columbo. I think he's fun. I've been meaning to just, like, binge watch all of the Columbos for a while. I don't know if it's a binge watchable series because it's, you know, Columbo kind of... as opposed to, like, a standard TV series that had, like, this number of episodes and just aired sort of mostly every year, like, Columbo technically spans from, like, I think the late 60s, early 70s to, like, 2001 or something like that. To varying levels of goodness depending on what year it's from. But, yeah, anyway, so I'd like to visit the Columbo statue one day. I'm also a fan of... And my moderator / spouse has seen this one in person, because my first experience of it was seeing photos he'd taken of it, but there's this piece of art, it's like on top of a building in Japan, and supposedly it's meant to look like the foam off of the, because it's like a beer company's building, so it's supposed to look like the foam drifting off of, like, the top of a glass of beer, but to me, it just looks like a wonky gold parsnip. And I just think it looks really fun and I want to see it. Anyways, Aoife says, so I was in an art show once, saw performance art where they made a digital clock out of just wooden boards being clamped to a framework, and for 24 hours, every minute, a few guys came up with ladders and changed the boards accordingly. It was awesome. That's so cool! That's such a cool piece. I love that. That's super rad. Hell yeah. That's really fun. That's really fun. I like that. That's a neat piece. I'm trying to think of other, like, Columbo statue includes a dog statue for bonus points according to Wikipedia. That is true, Katie. It does include a dog. Which, again, chef's kiss. Love to see it. Love to see the inclusion of doggy. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of one of my teas, and then I'm going to start doing some line art on this bad boy. So it actually looks, you know, good, hopefully. Hi, babe.
You know, we said we didn't have any frozen cherries in the freezer.
Hmm?
We've got plenty of frozen cherries in the freezer.
We have frozen cherries in the freezer. Why did we think we didn't?
I
Ah, okay. Anyways, sorry, commentary from my moderator slash spouse with regard to frozen fruit we have in the house. Anyways, what was I saying? What was my point? I'm sure I had one. Oh yeah, other cool artworks I've seen in person. I mean, anytime that I've gotten to see like a painting by Turner, I just like Turner paintings. I like the way he does colory stuff. I think it's real nice. I like his vibe. Also, you know, some of those big like scenes. Who else? Turner, Lowry. Lowry's fun. I like Lowry. And that one piece, I think it's in the National Gallery by Holbein, that is, it's so weird. And especially for the time period and the artist, who, if you're not familiar with Hans Holbein, he painted mostly just like portraiture of, you know, notable people of the period who presumably paid him to paint their portraits, right? But he's got this one piece, I think it's called The Ambassadors. I apologize if this is incorrect. My memory is a sieve. But it's these two, you know, sort of gentlemen. And then in the foreground is just what looks like this weird, like, smear. Because it is it's an optical illusion that he's just stuck in the front of this painting. So if you look at the painting head on, and like you can see it, you know, sort of in print and whatever, but the effect is so much cooler when you see it as like a giant ass canvas in real life. If you view it head on, it's just got this weird distorted smear in the front, but if you look at it from the side, it's a skull. And it looks like a correctly shaped skull. It's weird. It's weird, and I don't know what I feel like the impetus for doing it was just, I'm gonna see if I can achieve this. And so he did it. But considering the rest of his oeuvre is for the most part like just straight ahead portraiture of, you know, like here's a portrait of Anne of Cleves, here's a portrait of Thomas Cromwell, yada yada yada. And then this thing, it's so weird and I love it, and it is a very cool experience to go see it in person if you can. Yeah. Tal says, I would like to see one of those solar system to scale type things that spread out over a couple kilometers. Oh, those are super cool too, yes. Eva says, I believe they made a DVD of the performance, not where I saw it. And I think the DVD includes a screensaver option that syncs with the PC time. Oh, that's really cool. I hope you do find it one day. That's awesome. But yeah, it was the optical illusion skull. It's such a weird thing to do. And I love that it exists, and it is really cool to look at. And it's for sure one of those things that, like, I do think that it benefits from being seen in person. Annoyingly. Because that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. Okay, I would like my line weight to be a little stronger than my current paints, I think, can get. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit and add a little bit of my 1930 Gansai to this little blob of paint that I'm using for my hair, so that the line weight's got just a little additional depth to it. And hopefully that'll be fine. Anyways, I've not asked what everyone's up to this week. What are y'all up to this week? I hope that your weeks forthcoming will be delightful and fun and good. What am I doing this week? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. I am streaming today, obviously. I'm streaming again on Thursday, probably continuing on with the little Copenhagen number. And then also, who knows what else. Friday, I'm gonna be silk songing again. Hopefully we'll beat that fight that we've been working on. And apart from that, I am in the editing suite working on my next YouTube video, which I hope people will like. It is so niche that I imagine about 4 people in the world will watch it. I am really good. I really want to grow my YouTube channel. Also, me has ideas that will literally appeal to no people whatsoever. But so it goes. Here's a link to my channel, by the way, if you're not subbed over there and you want to be. To watch my weird niche videos, you can. Tal says, I really like Park Güell in Barcelona. Lots of fun Gaudi sculptures and colors. Ooh, Gaudi's fun. Nice. I would love to visit one day. But preferably when it's not too warm, because I cannot handle warm temperatures, and I think it gets warm there. I fixed up my bicycle today since it's so nice out recently. Ooh, I hope you get to go on lots of lovely, lovely bike rides. Love that for you. There's a part of me that wishes I could be more of like a cyclist type person, but unfortunately the area that I live in is very hilly. And, I've got little leggies. And I don't think they'd withstand the hills very well. Also, this is a medieval city, so navigating traffic whilst being a cyclist. This is a very popular city with cyclists, despite being a medieval city that doesn't have a ton of cyclist infrastructure. Maybe I'd be able to be more of a cyclist if I lived in, like, the Netherlands, where it feels like cyclists are much more accommodated for. Who's to say? Okay, well, the good news is I have hair now. Ta-da! And it is, I've tried to make it appropriately messy because I'm, so hopefully that comes across appropriately. Going to try and turn this color into more of a deep version of my peachy melaninless flesh tone. I am incredibly white. Very, very white. Not berry white, mind you. I cannot sing in that range. Can I sing? You will not find out on stream because I'm shy. But never mind. You just grasp some coral. I'm just going to keep adding things until I feel like it's an appropriate color. This may take 9 hours, who knows. It's too pinkish, I think, maybe a little bit more orangey. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Okay, wizard. I think I did it. Did I do it? Who knows? But I think it's close enough. Okie dokie. Let us try. I'll try. I feel like a good strategy for this is to start with my foot. And if it doesn't look good on my foot, then I can try and blot it away and make it better for the rest. But actually, no, it looks fine. So there's my little hand getting on with it. And my little hand very professionally gripping this, very professionally gripping this. I look like I'm just holding the, I'm just holding the paintbrush like this. Yes, this is very effective. I mean, I don't know if this is the way I should be holding a paintbrush, but this is how I hold everything. Is this normal? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay, let's make sure that we really highlight the bags under my eyes, because that's important. And also the way my neck is nice and hunched over here. Also important. And then let's come around. And outline my face, which is a round shape. Because I am a round individual. I feel like the one thing that this art is missing is the number of chins that I have when I'm this hunched over, but to be honest, actually, it kind of... No, my chins aren't that bad when I'm hunched over like this. It could be worse. It could be worse. Anyways, if it gets the paint where you want it, it must be right, says tells yes. Though there are with a lot of these things, you know, sort of a, this is the way you're quote unquote supposed to do it. And sometimes the reason that this is the way you're quote unquote supposed to do it is that this is the way that like reduces injury. Like, for instance, when you're drawing, you're really meant to be drawing more from your shoulder and not from your wrist. So like, I'm drawing a shape, not I'm drawing a shape. Because doing it with your wrist is more likely to injure your wrist, whereas doing it from your shoulder is a lot safer. I was gonna say as long as it doesn't hurt. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think I do draw. I think I mostly draw. I don't know what part of my arm I'm drawing from. I think I'm mostly doing it correctly. Draw Sammy with wrists, says Q2s. I mean, I have a wrist, and I would say that my wrist has pains pretty regularly, but to be fair, my wrists have had pains pretty regularly since I was like 15 years old. Don't talk about your ages, please. Which is a good number of years, and they haven't gotten substantially worse in that time, so I will say that oftentimes I have to set myself like a hard time limit on certain like handcraft type tasks like knitting and that kind of thing. I can't just knit for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end because oof, ouch, it hurts. Same with hand sewing, which is part of the reason that I try and set myself like a bit of a time limit with hand sewing and how long I will do it for. Is because I don't want to do myself a big old oof ouch, you know? Anyways, I'm gonna repurpose this brown by adding some of my sort of, I don't know, is this kind of an ochre brown? Or like an ochre yellow brown, I guess. And just blend it in. So that I have a desk lines color. Yippee! Anyways. This is, I don't know how other artists make their PNG tubers. Obviously I can't say, but making a PNG tuber by starting with a piece of traditional art is so funny. Because effectively I take this image and I scan it in, and then I need to like separately draw here's just a closed eye, and this is just an open mouth for when I'm speaking. And I will have to Photoshop these in post to the original drawing, because I'm not redrawing this entire thing just because I'm blinking, you know what I mean? That is a stupid amount of additional work that I don't need to give myself, but it just means that I've just got this floating eye on a piece of paper, even since I do it the same way. Oh, thank God. I wasn't sure if that was, like, weird. It feels weird to do, to just have this piece of paper that's just got, like, one blinking eye on it, you know what I mean? Anyways. Not that I'm qualified to give artist advice, but artist advice, everybody. Also remember, when you are doing drawing and painting and stuff, or anything you do with your hands, do some, like, hand and wrist exercises before you begin. I say this because I absolutely did not do that today, and I'm doing it now. Oops! The new one is also done with watercolors. Before that, I did a lot of crayon stuff. Oh, I love crayon stuff, and I love watercolors. That's so exciting, and I love that for you. Hell yeah. But I'm glad to know I'm not the only person who does that when they do, like, traditional art, animation-y type gubbins. Because it is a kind of, like, simple animation. Also, anything that I do that is, like, animated is similarly janky and very simple. But yeah, okay. Alright, we have ourselves parts colored in, which is great. Good job, me. Okay. I'm gonna do my shirt next, I think. Which is, there's not a lot to do of it. There, okay, shirt's done. Yay! Hey, Leaky, welcome on in. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you, and welcome, welcome. We were talking earlier about, like, interesting pieces of public art that we've seen or things that we'd like to see in person. So if you've got any interesting pieces of public art that you've seen, or like your favorite one, or one that you've always wanted to go look at, feel free to sound off. Otherwise, how you doing? It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. Or if there's anything else you want to talk about, welcome in. It's all good. Sorry. I'll shut up. No, I won't. I'll keep yapping, but I'll stop talking about that. Anyways. Yeah, I hope you're well. I am fine, thank you. I'm going to pick up some gray for my little drawer pulls here, of which I have placed 3. There we go. Okay, cool. Anywho, what do I want to paint in next? Maybe I'll stick with gray and do the chaise here, perhaps. That's probably a good idea. So let me do my funky little office chair. And when I say funky little office chair, I mean this is an extremely boring standard office chair. That we have here, but it's comfy. I have a little, like, normally I do have a cushion behind me, but for some reason I chose not to draw it, so oh well. Also, in case anyone's wondering, the bagged milk guy, who I will be painting at some point. If I don't get to it today, we'll probably do it next time. I'm thinking their jug is going to be blue, just because I think that would be cute. Anyways, okay, moving on. Oh, and in case anyone's curious, because I know you were all wondering, I know you were all just, like, waiting for me to let you know, tonight's dinner is soup. Specifically sweet potato and black bean soup. And I'm very looking forward to it. Tal says, "Aw, cute little milk bag jug guy. Yeah. Yeah." I drew him earlier this afternoon in about 3 minutes in a fit of, well, I guess I need to draw this. And this little guy came about, and I love him, and yeah. Anyways, Leaky says, "I used to work in Shoreditch." Ah, fun. Which is in London. So I've seen so much street art. The park outside my old office now features 2 giant figures holding hands by the artistic. Oh, holding hands! That's so wholesome. I love it. Delightful. I don't think there's much in the way of interesting artwork near... I'm trying to think, is there any interesting artwork in and around? There's a lot of interesting architecture in the city I live in. But is there interesting public art? There probably is, and I'm just, like, completely forgetting about it. There is, outside the business school opposite the railway station, there's a big statue of a bull. Or an ox, rather. It's an ox. We live in Oxford. It's an ox. What's wrong with me? But it's definitely a boy ox, I'll tell you that. Anyway. But yeah, there's gotta be public art that I'm just, like, completely forgetting about in this city. I don't know. Anywho. Oh my, says Tal's. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was TMI. Moving on. Painting in the wheels. Painting in the wheels. Okay. There was actually, speaking of oh my, so my hometown, and oh shoot, I was gonna show you the famous downtown public art of my hometown in Canada. I think it should be fine for artistic purposes, but I'm going to very briefly show you and put a link in the chat because, well, you'll see. You will see. It's known as the family fountain. And let me see if I can just copy image address and then pull up picture of it. Wow, that is very low res. Hold on, let me get a better photo of it. Oh no! Oh no! The fountain is going into storage while they revitalize downtown construction, and then the article that I clicked on that the picture's from doesn't even have the picture. Just show me a damn picture of the family. I know. Just show me the dang fountain. Where? Okay, the family fountain. Here we are. All right. This is a lot of build up for nothing. Q2's missed the milk jug. You've seen this, haven't you? There it is again. Anyways, he's still here. So here's the link to the famous public art from my city, which is apparently going into storage while they do a whole bunch of like renovations of the center of town. But for anyone just watching on stream, here it is. Take a good look, and now it's gone because I do not want to get in trouble. I feel like I can't remember what the rules are in TOS, so if that's, I hope that's not a contravention of the rules. It's artistic enough of a piece that is literally public art, but none of these figures are clothed, so I don't want to get in trouble. Anyways, I have to go back and clip it. This tells no. Reported says no. Q2 says posture check at Sammy in drawing. I mean, you know what? I also should do a posture check because my posture was getting has been pretty much this for most of the stream. So I am currently lengthening my spine upwards. I've stashed the link for later. Says reported no. Stop. I'm just showing you a piece of public art that exists in the city center of my hometown. It just happens to be, like, nude people. The fun thing about it is that people absolutely love, like, trying to throw things such that they land directly on the, on one of the heads of the people in the fountain. They should put a statue of Sammy there. This cute tooth. No! I don't want to be vandalized, and I don't want to have birds pooping on my head. Because, you know, if they put up a statue of you, birds will perch on it and also poop on it. I once witnessed in, I think it was in Bristol, I saw a bird actively drop some guano on top of Queen Victoria's head. I'd put a cone on your statue's head. Yay! You know, I'm more okay with that because A, it's a cool pointy hat, and B, it's VLC Media Player. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind. Oh, excuse me. Oh, heck. Okay. Oh, my throat hurts. Oh, no. Oh, no. Now my throat hurts. Oh, shoot. VLC Sammy Player says Q2's. Oh, beans. Anyways, one moment, please. Are the bronze sculptures of clothed people? Asks Leaky. Not the one in my hometown. It's not. They are very not clothed. When I was a youngin' and I first moved to that town, because I moved there when I was about 8 years old. Don't talk about your age. I thought they were very funny because I was like, sneaky. I'm a little bit more mature than that now. Don't worry. I've matured slightly, but only slightly. Anywho, cardigan time, I'd say. So let me gather up a little reservoir of our lavender. And then supplement it with a little bit of other color so that it has a somewhat more appropriate depth, so it will be visible. Share the progression of my PNGs have on the Discord. Oh, nice. Okay, here's a link to the Discord. I cannot check. I meant in general, has anyone ever seen a bronze statue that wasn't nude? I don't know. Probably. Oh, wait a second. It's the Columbo statue. I think the Columbo statue is a bronze statue, and Columbo is not nude. But I haven't seen it in person. Anyway, here's the link to the Discord, y'all. You can share art and stuff there. I cannot load Discord on my computer whilst I am streaming, or it's likely to break the internet. It has before, and I do not want to bust up stream, but I will enjoy seeing your handiwork when I am done here. And I very much invite anyone who isn't in the Discord to join if you'd like to. And if you are in the Discord, go check out that stuff. Go do it. And also, if you have artwork that you want to share in the Discord, please do. I love seeing what folks from around here are up to and what you do. I think it's really neat, and I love how creative the group of people who for some reason hang out in my streams are. It is, frankly, an honor. And I thank you. Anyways, I think this is a pretty good representation of my general shape, which is spherical and short. Ooh, the one of the guy on the horse where people always put a coat on his head in Glasgow, says Q2's. Ooh, yeah! Another VLC media player statue. Heck yeah, amazing. Okay. Okay, it's trouser painting in time. We're getting close to being done this. I might actually be able to work on something else afterwards. What? Wild, I know. Wacky, but here we are. Okay. Picked up a little bit of a, like, navy blue just to kind of darken down the line a little bit here. Because I do want to make sure that it stands out nicely on stream, you know what I mean? It wants to stand out nicely. I think this is looking pretty alright. I think this is looking okay. Okay, gonna need the orange. This nice vibrant orange, but I think I'm gonna add just a little bit of coral into it for the line purposes, because that orange isn't gonna get too much darker. I guess I could put a little bit of this orange. I could just like waft my brush across it and brighten that orange out a little bit so that I can paint the color with my little cuppy of paint water here, and also similarly the paint sitting on the end of my brush. Hey! Q2 says, unrelated, but your milk video made me think of it. Oh, by the way, I have a YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It would make me feel really happy, and it doesn't cost you anything to do, and I won't bother you with too frequent uploads, because I don't upload very frequently. Anyways, when you're in Canada, can you also make a video of I Can't Believe It's Not Butter? I believe it's more Canada's it's more Canada's pants than Canada, but I assume it exists there. We have I Can't Believe It's Not Butter here in the UK as well. In fact, I think we've bought it before. Though there was a while where the packaging didn't say I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, possibly because legal reasons, so instead it just said I Can't Believe It's So Good. I don't know whether or not that's still the case, and it's going to bother me until I check. I can't believe it's not butter. Oh, apparently it's owned by Flora, who also make Flora, which is another butter substitute. Interesting. I can't believe it's not butter is in the UK. Yeah. My moderator / spouse's parents have definitely bought it. can't believe it's not butter. Yeah, here we are. You can buy... This is the first result that came up. You can buy it at Asda, which is a UK supermarket. Canada's pants. Katie, that's so appropriate. There's a fun difference then. I do want to explore more differences between Canada and the UK as, like, video topics. And one of them is words that mean different things, or words that are employed differently. Because obviously pants, if you're referring to somebody's pants here in the UK, that is short for underpants, and it refers to your undergarment that covers your butt, as opposed to pants in Canada, which just refers to, like, any pair of trousers. So if I was like, okay, I put on pants and then, you know, went to get the post, you'd be like, okay, cool. If I was just like, I put on pants and went to get to the post in the UK, it's like, okay, were you not wearing any, like, trousers though? Because you're kind of undressed there. Pants in the UK is your underwear. Yep. You know, it's just like, oh man, I've only got like 2 clean pairs of pants left. I'd better do some laundry. You know, that kind of thing. Whereas back home, it's like my pants are like, you know, the I'm currently wearing a pair of, they're kind of like sweats, but they're like waffle knit, and obviously they cover the entirety of my body from my waistband to my ankles. Yeah, trousers is, it's pants in Canada, trousers in the UK. There we go. There's a couple of other interesting semantic differences in that way that I think are quite fun. Some things where the meaning is the same, but we just phrase things a little bit slightly different. Like, for instance, an ad break is happening in 30 seconds, and whilst the ad break is going, I'm going to nip to the toilet, which is a normal thing to say in this country. But, oh my goodness, when I'm back home in Canada, and I'm like, okay, could we go in like 5 minutes? I just need to go to the toilet first, if we're on our way out somewhere. My mother was like, whoa, too much information! Which I find so funny, because, like, if I'm asking to use the bathroom before, you know, we go on a car trip, what do you think I'm doing in there? A crossword puzzle? Obviously I'm peeing or pooping. So what's with the squeamishness about it? I don't know. That's a weird difference, you know? It's interesting. Anyways, does Canada share the USA's wrong definition of momentarily? I'm not sure. What is that difference? Tell me more. I'm intrigued. Anyways, pants. Big pile of pants is a mild oath in the UK, says Tals, and I love that. I love that so much, and that's true. I'm gonna be right back, because I don't want to talk over the ads, because I don't want to miss anything. So I'll be back very shortly, and we will continue talking about pants and stuff. BRB. Okay, so I learned something just now, which is Leaky brought about some conversation about the difference between momentarily and momentarily. That is to say, in North America, momentarily means like shortly, like imminently, soon, very soon, in fact, whereas momentarily in the UK means for a very short duration. Those are 2 very different things. So he cites being on a flight and the like captain being like, okay, so the plane's landing momentarily, by which they mean they're about to initiate landing. Whereas that sounds like, wait, are we landing and then taking off again? Oh no! Ah! Tal says, according to their Canadian English dictionary, it has both meanings for momentarily. Ah, that's so confusing. Yeah, I think my general, when I hear the meaning, I tend to think, like, in a very short amount of time. But I think I haven't questioned when it's also been used for the other. Landing momentarily sounds like a crash landing, says Aoife. Yeah, we're going to be landing suddenly, everyone, so brace yourselves. And thank you so much for flying with us. Anyways. Oh no. But, yeah. Oh, no. But the other thing that I was thinking of in terms of, like, ambiguous word meanings, and I don't think this is as much of a regional thing as just a very poorly established whether, like, what this actually means in practice. But bi-weekly or bi-monthly. Again, to do with units of time, kind of. Thank you for flying with us momentarily, says Q2's. Why does that sound so many? That sounds vaguely threatening. But yeah, bi-weekly, bi-monthly. I feel like, just for clarity, it almost feels like these terms should be abolished. I move to abolish the terms bi-weekly and bi-monthly, because there's no clarity within that term whether you mean twice weekly or fortnightly or twice monthly or once every 2 months. So for me, I feel like it's much clearer if you mean bi-weekly as in every second week to just say every second week or fortnightly or every other week. And if you mean twice a week, just say twice weekly. There's no lack of clarity there, you know? There's ways of saying it that actually just tells you exactly what you mean. The modern term is pan-weekly, says Leaky. Oh, geez. The actual difference between bi-weekly and pan-weekly is whether you prefer a warm or a cool color palette. And personally, as you can see from my outfit, I prefer a cooler color palette, so I am, in fact, bi-weekly. That is... I've seen some... I don't want to get into bi versus pan discourse, because I think it's ultimately it's down to personal preference which term resonates the most with you personally, and there's no need to get weird about how other people choose to use whichever term they feel calls to them, you know what I mean? So personally, I call myself bi. And genuinely, I do prefer the color palette of the bi pride flag. Anyways, y'all should bring back after Moro for the day after tomorrow, says Q2's. As a German speaker, it confused me so much that you don't have a word for the day after tomorrow. I wouldn't say no to there being a word that people actually use for that. I would not mind that at all. This is why I stick to fortnightly, says Tals. Yes, exactly. Also, if you stick to fortnightly, you never have to do anything twice a week, which is great. Anyways. Yes. I want... So, if after Moro would be the term for the day after tomorrow, what's the word for, like, yesterday, like the day before yesterday? Yesterday? I don't know. When I refer to the day after Boxing Day, I call it Boxing Day. Like, it's the Boxing Day of Boxing Day, if that makes sense. In fact, I refer... If there's, like, Happy International Women's Day Boxing Day, everyone. The day after my birthday is Birthday Boxing Day. The day after our anniversary is Anniversary Boxing Day. Boxing Day, in my personal, like, idealect vernacular, has come to mean... just generically the day after a notable day, you know? So, like, you know, happy birthday Boxing Day. Birthday Boxing Day is the day after your birthday. Anniversary Boxing Day. Autism Acceptance Month Boxing Day. Etc., etc. But yes, ooh, Aoife says we have übermorgen after tomorrow and vorgestern before yesterday for the 2 days off. That's so much nicer. We just attach another over in German. So tomorrow's morgen, the day after tomorrow's übermorgen, and then übermorgen. Yeah, just über. It gets a lot harder to say if you say more of them at once. Apparently. Fortnite would confuse many kids, says Leaky. Oh man, that's true. Fortnightly would confuse Americans because it's a Brit. Do Americans not know Fortnite? Not Fortnite is in the shooty game where you... I don't know, I'm too old. Like... I'm just... Honestly, I'm not a fan of, like, online type games, generally. So anything... And also, I'm not a fan of, like, shooty battle royale type games, so, like, nothing about Fortnite has ever appealed to me, and it also just is... it's just, it's not for me personally, and that's okay. Not as a time word, I'll bet, says Katie. Yeah, I don't think it's something that, I don't think that it's something that's, like, in super common use. Maybe it's one of those things where, like, I don't know, Americans who don't interface with a lot of, like, people from other countries would be like, oh, yes, that word that I heard on, like, a PBS drama. They say Fortnite in Bridgerton. I say this as someone who, when I lived in North America, watched a lot of, like, British dramas and murder mysteries on public television, and it was great. All those Inspector Morses and Miss Marples, and now I live in the land of Inspector Morse, like, literally, because those stories were set in Oxford, and, honestly, I don't really watch them anymore. It's quite funny being like, I recognize this location. That, they just turned a corner and went from one place to a place that's like 5 blocks away. That's funny. And also there was a time many years ago, this is way before I started streaming, I'd interviewed for a job, and in fact, I got the job, and I was starting the job a week from then, and I was walking past the building where I was going to be working in this new job, and I saw a sign on the outside that was like, Oxford Police Department, and I was like, what? But isn't this the office where I just interviewed for a job? And it was not with the police, it was with a different organization. And then I turned to my right, and I see, like, a whole-ass film crew. And they're just using the exterior of this office building as, like, their stand-in for the police department. And they're filming an episode of Lewis. And I'm like, ah, shoot. Okay, well, now I get it. Q2 says, as someone who invested way too many hours into Fortnite, it's okay. Thank you. Also, I hope you had fun. Eva says, my cousin's kid, when I told him I never heard of the game, told me I'm too old to have the reflexes needed to... Oh, hey. I choose to believe him, but I also think his only motivation to play was to be good enough to become rich. Oh, no. Oh, no. I did see, like, an ad. I think it was for, like, a charity recently, like a charity for children, but it was, like, children talking about, like, what they want. You know, when one child was like, I want to be a famous cricketer. I want 1 million followers, said one of them, and I'm like, oh, that's so sad. Oh, no. I don't know if that's a good aspiration, kiddo, but that's kids' aspirations these days. If I'm dealing with Americans, says Styles, I'm already going to be in trouble with date formatting. Might as well throw Fortnite into the mix. Oh, yes, date formatting. That is, I feel like day, month, year just makes the most sense because that's how I say them, but yeah. Anyways. Date formatting. I'm a Midsummer Murders fan, says Katie. Ooh, yes, it is like a disproportionate number of murders happen in that county, I tell you what. Leaky says, I felt the same when I ended up in Rhyme City when they filmed Detective Pikachu in London. Oh my goodness. Leaky says, year, month, day is the only right answer. Whoa. I do, okay. So when I need to format things for certain file names, I will do 2 digits each, year, month, day. Specifically for file formatting, and that's it. Month, day, year is psychotic, says Q2. I think month, day, year, and day, month, year causes the most confusion between the two. Because let's say it's like the 3rd of May, so you put 0305, but you could put 0503. So, but that could also be the 5th of March, and not the 3rd of May. Ah! No! And actually, speaking of, oh man, I don't know if I've told this story before, but Leaky reminded me with like Rhyme City and Detective Pikachu. But when I still lived in Canada, back in the old country, there was a made-for-TV movie that was set in World War II that was being filmed on location in part in my hometown in southern Ontario, Canada. I did not know that filming was happening. I ended up watching it, and it was quite good. It was quite good historical piece about a woman who was a journalist, and did some very important things in World War II. Anyways, but because of the architecture of my city center, they used a bit of my city center to stand in for Germany during World War II. So you can imagine my surprise when I got off the bus in the city center on my way to like the office or lectures or whatever. I think I was a student at the time, so I was probably on my way to a lecture. And there's just big banners hanging from one of the buildings with what is now an international hate symbol. And you can imagine that I was suitably alarmed for a moment until I realized, they must be filming a period piece. Scared the living crap out of me for a moment, though. It's like, what timeline did I just walk into? Good lord. Tells us 03, 05, 07. Who knows what day or month or year it is? Yeah, who cares anymore? No. Anyways, left-hand side driving doesn't enrage me as much as month, day, year. Going back and forth between countries does break my brain a little bit when it comes to what side the driver's on now, because I'm used to it being, the driver being on the side that they are here in the UK. So going back, it's like what the driver's over there. But every once in a while, because it's so ingrained in my memory, because I lived in Canada for the first 30 years of my life, sometimes we'll go back, or, sometimes I'll be here rather, and we'll be like, you just driving around the roundabout or whatever, and for a second I'll look over at, like, the car next to us, and I'll be like, oh my god, is that car driving itself? Where's the driver? Oh, they're on the other side. I'm still in the UK, god damn it. I'm not very intelligent. Leaky says, I can only cope with driving because I drove stick in the UK and automatic in the US. Interesting. Interesting. I feel like if I drove, I would not want to drive on the side I'm not used to. I would just be too scared of, like, my muscle memory kicking in and me just fluffing up and, just fully being on the wrong side of, like, whatever, like trying to do a turn into the wrong lane or something like that at a junction. Scary. Bad. But still I didn't panic and almost drove up the off-ramp, says Leaky. Oh no. Yeah, exactly. It's super scary. Do not want. I'm sure you get used to it. But, like, yes. It's, I'm aware of the fact that if you rent a car in Japan, and you are obviously, and they will have seen your driving license, you are not a resident of Japan, they will often put a little, like, thing in your car window to say basically, like, hey, this driver is not local. This is a driver from a foreign country. And I think it's mostly to signal to local drivers to please be patient with them. But that also just makes you feel like, oh man, I have the remedial foreigner sticker on my car, Oh, beans. Anyways, Q2 says, I kind of want to drive a car in the UK or Japan sometime to see if I could stick shift with my other hand or be confused. I feel like in very controlled, maybe just in a car park. If I knew how to drive and I was in that situation, I'd be like, maybe just in a car park where I'm least likely to cause a problem, but that's it. But I don't drive a motor car at all, just because I am genuinely scared that something bad will happen, and I think it's more important for me to recognize this is a potential limitation in myself than to feel pressured to learn how to do it because you're supposed to as an adult. I'm just like, no, it's not that I don't trust myself to, like, understand how to drive, it's that other drivers are unpredictable and I don't know if that's going to make me do a panic. Yay! Hey, this driver is an idiot! He has the idiot sticker! Look at this idiot! Japan, says Q2. Yeah. Katie says Japan has a number of different driver status stickers. Yeah, I don't think that it's intended to be the, like, this is like, hey, look at this stupid idiot. It's more like, please be patient. This driver is not local. And yeah, they do have stickers for other types of drivers. I can't remember what ones, but I know they do have other types of stickers for other types of drivers as well. At least you moved somewhere walkable, says Leaky. Honestly, part of my impetus for moving to the UK was knowing that there would be walkable cities that I could move to. Like, that's it. There are parts of the UK where you will struggle without a car or be subject to, like, annoying bus timetables and what have you, but yeah, it's not too bad. Anyways, Aoife says, I never thought of the stick being on the wrong side too. Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be, because you are also sitting on the opposite side. Pastel colors look like marshmallows, says the one who likes to game. Yes, they do. They do look like fruity confections. I mean, they used to be able to, I don't know if they still have them, but they used to also, hello, welcome in. They used to have, like, these, fruit flavored marshmallows. My grandmother would specifically make, they didn't taste of any specific fruit in particular, but they were, like, colorful and stuff. And my grandmother would use those to make Rice Krispie squares. And I don't think the flavor is as nice as the vanilla ones, but those were her favorites, so that's the ones that she made. Every other baked good by my grandmother was, absolutely stunning. Why did I move to the UK? It's a bit of a long story. I came for possible future employment reasons and really wanted to get out of my hometown, and I stayed for my moderator / spouse. So I had finished my university degree. I did cultural studies and literary theory, so, you know, mega employable, with a minor in psych, but only a minor in psych, and I didn't feel like continuing in psychology, so here I was with, you know, those credentials, and I was like, you know, what I would like to do, realizing that it wasn't really feasible for me to do a PhD and teach and not emerge, like, just having had, I didn't think I would be able to do a PhD in Canada or the US at that point in cultural studies and literary theory and not have a mental breakdown and have to drop out. Just based on the experience of the number of people I knew who, even the people I knew who had doctorates in related fields, no one's mental health was good and no one was being paid enough. And, you know, I was into my degree by the time I learned this, and I was like, what the flip am I going to do with myself? And so eventually I landed on, okay, well, I've always wanted to go into, like, making films. I think that would be, I would really like to make films. And so I looked at doing film production, doing, like, a master's degree in film production in New York City. I applied to a couple of, I spoke to a couple of programs, I applied to a couple of programs, I got into all of the programs that I applied to, and then I found out that it was so prohibitively expensive for me to go do this in New York City. But at the time, there was not, like, what felt like a reputable film production university program in anywhere near where I lived in Ontario. There was this, like, and I don't want to disparage this institution. I don't know anything about them. But all I could find was this, like, film production school that was a specific school to teach you film production. But their programs were very confusing because you could do, like, a 2-week program or a 3-month program or a 3-year program. And I was like, wow. So, what, am I coming out of this with an actual degree? And also, is this a scam? Or is this one of those schools that, like, yeah, you'll learn stuff, but you are not going to come out of it in a way that will actually set you up to be employable in the field that you want to come in? I tried to look up, like, stats of, like, you know, how many graduates are successfully working in the field after graduating, and I could not find it. And I was like, I do not want to invest, like, potentially years of my life into a school that turns out to be a scam. So, pass. Or if not a scam, then just genuinely not useful in terms of forwarding that as a career goal. So, not being able to go do it in New York City and not having anywhere nearby where I could do such a thing, I could not afford to go do, like, grad school of any kind in the United Kingdom because it was prohibitively expensive, again, for me as a foreigner. However, I could come here and work on a 2-year visa because I was from a list of certain countries that the UK has agreements with that you can come to the UK, or at least you were able to. I don't know if it's still the case. You were able to come to the UK and work for, like, a set number of a set amount of time. It was 2 years in this case, assuming you were under 30 years old. And I was just under 30 years old at the time. I turned 29, like, shortly after I got here. When I went to passports with my visa, the guy was like, wow, you squeaked in just under the wire, didn't you? And I'm like, yup! Better late than never! And then I went to Manchester because a friend of mine who is a producer, had, you know, worked as a producer in, like, TV and that kind of thing, was like, you should move to Manchester if you want a job in, like, TV and stuff, because that's where all the jobs are. So I did.
Attention.
And there were no jobs.
Sammy Couch.
And I didn't get one. Anyways, Ripley, hi, welcome in. Lovely to see you. Welcome. Thank you very much for the raid. I'm going to attempt to give you a shout out. How was your stream? What'd you get up to today? It's lovely to see you. As always, we're an art tax optional stream as well, so if there's anything that you would like to share, you can whisper me a link. I'd be very happy to share it, but if you just want to chill or dip, it's all good as well. But yes, hello to Mel Mixes Media and Stray Dreams and Lindsay. Welcome. Lovely to see y'all. And yeah, hi. For anyone who's new here, I'm Twitch user Sammy Kells from a variety streamer. This is potentially a new PNG tuber if I get it done, and it looks good as a PNG tuber. We'll see. But I do cozy art streams on Mondays and Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays, and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra crispy, which I haven't done in a while. I should do that soon. But yeah, we were just chatting about. I was telling Chad about how I ended up moving to the United Kingdom. So yeah, I ended up in Manchester for about a year. Could not find a job. I ended up basically applying for any job I could get. I worked in a clothing store for a few months. That was awful. I worked in a museum and I loved it. But the hours were so minimum. And also I had already started dating my moderator / spouse who was living down south at that point. And so after about a year in Manchester, I moved down to Oxford and I've been here ever since. The end. So yeah, I said, did you only marry moderator / spouse with a visa? No, I married him because we're in love. Come on. Anyways, Mel asks, do you like it here? I mean, I've been here for coming up to 13 years, so yeah, it's not so bad. It's pretty alright. I wouldn't move back to Canada if I can avoid it. But yes, Ripley says, loving it so far. I hope you had a wonderful stream, Ripley. I hope whatever you got up to was good. Feel free to share if you want to, but not if you don't. But yeah, so that's my story. I live here now. Yay! Anyways. Tal says I should make Rice Krispie Squares. I agree. I should also make Rice Krispie Squares. Also, Rice Krispie Square pro tip, brown butter. You know, you melt the butter to make Rice Krispie Squares. Just let it hang a little bit longer until the butter actually browns. It just adds a je ne sais quoi to the flavor that is so stinking delicious. Very, very much recommend. Chilled Coral Island Monday, says Ripley. Oh, I love that for you. That's delightful. Was there anything you were surprised by when moving here? Honestly, like, a surprising amount. Hold on. There's new people in the chat. I'm gonna shout out my own YouTube channel because I made a YouTube video last week entirely about one of the things that surprised me when I moved to the UK. Speaking of differences between Canada and the UK, I also sketched this today. He's a little jug of milk with a bag of milk. Because back where I live, bag of milk. How long did it take you to adjust to a whole different currency, says Q2s? Quite quickly. I just kind of didn't really think of it. And I think it probably helped that I was not earning much of an income for like my entire first year here, so it was all kind of abstract. So I wasn't really doing mental maths in my head of like, oh, that's this much CAD, blah, 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 blah. I was just looking at like, okay, that's how much it is. And that was kind of it. It's hard to like continually sort of compare across with that kind of thing, in part because different things cost different amounts of money depending on where you are. Like I was speaking yesterday with my mummy back in Canada we were talking about tinned fish, as you do. And I was saying that generally we don't buy tinned salmon because Sammy says, I'm broke in both currencies, says Q2. 0 CAD equals 0 pounds. Yeah, exactly. But I'm also gonna get another shout out for Ripley. If you want cozy Coral Island times, you should give Ripley a follow. Anywho. What was my point? My point is, so I generally don't buy tinned salmon because, oh my god, it's so expensive. It's like £5 for a tin of salmon here. Whereas I can buy 2 fresh, like, raw salmon fillets for £6. If they're on sale, I can buy them for potentially under 5. I can potentially buy fresh salmon for less than tinned salmon. Why the heck would I buy tinned salmon? So I never do. If I want salmon that's already been cooked, I can buy poached salmon for the same price as fresh, or hot smoked salmon for the same price as fresh, and it's tastier. And because it's like £5 for a tin of salmon. And then I found out that from my mother that a tin of salmon, like an equivalent tin of salmon back in Canada, is about $5. Now, if you know the exchange between CAD and pounds, the last time I checked, hot diggity dang. That is a difference. That's probably about £3 at most. I'm not sure exactly what the exchange rate is, but last time I was there, it was basically like $2 to a pound. So that difference is not insignificant. So yeah, I don't buy tinned salmon because holy heck, that's crazy. $2.75 says Leaky. Yeah, exactly. That's a huge versus £5 here. Most of the time, like, my Canadian family complains about how expensive everything is, and then I go over there and I'm like, it's not that expensive. Possibly salaries are just less, so it feels more expensive. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I live in a fairly expensive place. I'm always poor. By the way, this stream is brought to you by me. I have a shop also, which I updated recently with some cool new things. So if that's something you might be into, check it out. No pressure, obviously. I'm just glad you're here. But if you want stuff, you can get stuff from me because I have a shop. Anyways, what do you miss about Canada? Beans. Some of the things that I miss about Canada are things that I also miss about, like, being able to digest gluten. Salmon is cheap here in the Pacific Northwest of the USA, but I live where it lives, says Pottery Annie. I mean, that makes sense. Also, hi, Annie, if I hadn't said hello to you. Hello. Poutine. I do miss poutine. I can make, like, a facsimile of poutine here, but it's really hard to find the cheese curds, so you have to get creative, and it's not as good. But yeah. In a situation like that, tinned salmon is really only useful for, like, taking on a camping trip, says Katie. Yeah, exactly. And in that case, I just get sardines, because sardines are cheap. I think part of the reason is most of the tinned salmon that I see here is, like, if it specifies where the salmon is from, it's, like, Pacific salmon. So it's coming from Annie's patch over in, like, the Pacific Northwest, as opposed to the salmon that we can buy fresh here is coming from, like, at furthest Norway. But more likely Scotland. So that's a significantly shorter distance for the product to travel, so it's less expensive. But yeah, if you don't know poutine, it is chips or fries, as they're known back in Canada, with gravy and cheese curds, and it's so good. Specifically the cheese curds that, like, squeak a little bit when you eat them. They have the nice, like, kind of balance between they melt when you put hot gravy on top of them, but they also kind of keep their squeakiness a little bit. It's a really hearty, warming dish. It's probably not healthy, but you know. We don't have the industry here anymore, such as same says really, beans. Halloumi is squeaky, would that work, says Mel. I have used halloumi in replacement. I think the thing about halloumi that makes it not 100% perfect for me is that it's quite salty compared to the regular curds. And if the gravy is also salty, it can make a dish that ends up being on balance too salty. But halloumi works reasonably well. It doesn't melt quite as much as the curds, but it's a reasonable halloumi or like a fresh mozzarella. Like I've also used like a fresh ball of mozzarella and just kind of torn it up. And I think that's generally my preference. It's a little bit meltier and a little bit more wet than the curds would be, but on the other hand, it also isn't, it's not adding extra salt to the dish. So, I don't know. It's up to personal preference in that case, I suppose. But yes. Now, as for my little eyeball, my eyes are in fact extraordinarily blue, so I am going to blend this cornflower with a little bit of neutral tint so it's a little darker, so my eyes don't look scary. Hi, baby.
What time you wrap it up?
Fairly shortly. I'm just gonna finish this. Okay. Anyways, do love a squeaky cheese though. But yeah. Oh, now I'm thinking about poutine. I do have half of a packet of poutine sauce from that I have retained from my last visit to Canada. Don't worry, it is not past its best before end date yet. Hey! What do you absolutely not miss about Canada? Aw, geez. The trains? What trains? Rail services are infrequent and kind of suck. It is a pain in the backside trying to get a train from, like, my hometown to Toronto, which is, like, should be, like, an hour and a bit. But the trains are so infrequent. And, depending, they can be quite expensive for the distance that you're traveling, which is also, rather annoying. So, yeah, I would say that's what I absolutely do not miss, is, the trains are worse. The trains are worse, and generally, like, rail connections are not as comprehensive as they are here in the UK. I think because when the rail infrastructure was really, like, put into place, a lot of it was, from what I've heard, the UK ones aren't great plus expensive too. Trains can be expensive here. They can be not great here, but generally, in my experience, significantly more frequent than Canada, and just so much more of the country is connected by railway stations. Like, I don't know, there's a couple thousand railway stations in the UK compared to the, like, 5 in Canada. At least not including ones that are, you know, sort of like within, like, metro systems within a city. But if you're traveling from one city to another city, oh my god, it sucks. It sucks. Thank you for the 60 stream steak, Joe. Oh my god. I'm just painting in this bizarre contextless mouth. Because this is a PNG tuber, so I need the means with which to animate it. And then I'm probably going to call it a day because I've seen the time and I need to go cook soup. But yes, I know people complain about the trains here in the UK, but honestly, like, we have it so much better than Canada. So much better than Canada. Trying to get from, like, let's say, okay, Hamilton is like a reasonably large city, not super far from my city of residence as well. It's like the Birmingham to Toronto's London, if you think about it that way. There are no trains from my city, which is like over 100,000 people, to Hamilton, which is like the Birmingham of, like, you know, that bit of Canada. So Canada inherited Canada's pants public transport, aka only get, yes. Sucks. Trains in the UK are really expensive, but they are frequent and usually fairly reliable, says Sledge. Yes, exactly this. Exactly this. You can reasonably expect that, like, unless you are going from, like, a tiny there are tiny villages that will have like not very many services a day because they are tiny villages mostly served for like commuters. But notwithstanding tiny villages, if you live in like a reasonably sized city, you can expect that you can get to other major locales pretty regularly. You know, if not like every 15 minutes to London or every half hour to wherever, you know, like at the most hourly, like it's not that bad. Whereas in Canada, it's like, okay, there's a train at 7, there's a train at 9, and then there isn't another train until noon. And then there isn't another train until 3. Like, that's what we're dealing with. And that's between 2 major cities. It sucks. So, yeah. Yeah, Moriak says, one of the good parts of the UK is unless you're going to, like, the arse end of absolute nowhere, there's likely to be a train somewhere near there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, it's not going to be insurmountably difficult. Even if you're going to, like, a small village in the Cotswolds, you'll be able to get a train to somewhere near that small village in the Cotswolds and then get, like a 20-minute bus, you know, that kind of thing. Like, it's not that bad. But, woof. Canada is just not as well connected in that way. And it's partially to do with, like, the history of the railway networks and the fact that it was, largely built to accommodate the freight industry and not really giving as much thought to passenger rail. So here we are. Q2 says, oh my god, I was so confused with what the hell I'm looking at. Why drawing Sammy is painting a wall-attached cube. The 90-degree flip was something. Yes, here I am. I hope it's fine. I'm gonna call it there because I really have to go cook soup. I don't want to end this conversation because I'm having so much fun with y'all, but I have to go cook soup. So, I'm going to go cook soup now. Let me see who I can... Let me put you in a nice safe pair of hands, shall I? Hopefully, hopefully there's someone on who hasn't... Oh, you know who I haven't raided in a while? I haven't raided this person in a while, actually, so I'm going to send you to... Hopefully she isn't just about to finish, but I don't think they will be. No, I don't think they are. Okay. I've hopefully started the raid. My computer is once again... Every time I try to start a raid, my computer is pooping its pants. But, we'll do our best. I'm going to append our new Terry emote, because I think this emote is cute, and I hope you do too. I made it last week. And I forgot to announce that it was live, but there it is. If you have the emotes, feel free to grab the raid message with the emotes. If you don't have the emote, you could just say generic raid message or append any cool emotes that you do have. It's all good. So this is done. Yay. I might have a new PNG tuber on Thursday. We'll see if it works. But in any case, I hope to see you again soon. I hope you have a good rest of your week. Take care, everyone. Good night and good luck.